TOP just wiped the floor with JDG in Game 1. Are they going to make a comeback, or are we going to see a cleanup on aisle JDG? We're going to find out as we get into the game. And Clement, last game, TOP just ran an absolute clinic. Everything looked so clean from them. They had the Corki for Knight, LokeN, Sivir. I could just literally list the champions, and it would be a decent point of focus.
Every single thing went right for TOP, and it's just about reading the enemy team's playstyle and trying to counter that. So great job by them. Can they do it again in Game 2 is our big question right here. We're going to take a look at the drafts starting out. The interesting thing is TOP, Knight is kind of stealing a page from Yagao's playbook right here. Both of them have played a lot of Zoe. But if you look at TOP, a lot of respect shown towards Knight as well. Taking away all the potential counter picks, first picking the Zoe, and forcing Yagao on a really bad position. I don't feel like Viktor is a champion that has the pacing to really play in this meta. So it does look like a really slow 2v2 coming out from JD Gaming's side. And the potential to really run away with things between Knight and XX.
We'll see if they can keep up with the tempo or if TOP will keep the steamroller going here in game number 2, TOP versus JDG.
The big counter pick that we're seeing is the recently buffed back Trundle. It's a great matchup into the Olaf because you can body block with the pillar and make sure that the Olaf can't really pick up his undertows. You're also fighting press the attack versus Predator. So I like that from Flawless. It's going to keep XX on a much shorter leash from his lanes, and the Trundle is also considered a very good counter into the Tahm Kench. You know, Tahm Kench, even with his gray shield, he's going to have to spend a lot of time walking around that pillar also. So that's going to be the introduction for the special picks right there.
The last time it was a kite versus charge in matchup with these top positions. This time, what are we looking at? Because now we have the Varus Tahm Kench in the bottom lane, which is pretty safe, but how does the composition as a whole fit together?
To me, this is early versus late game a little bit. JD Gaming.
Whoop. Oh man, a gank already. LvMao, they might not even need that gank. Ben nearly kills him without XX's intervention.
A really interesting pathing coming out from XX. Just a straight up level 2 red buff gank incoming. Now, Olaf is going to pay a lot for this. I wonder if they can set up the vertical jungling in time to equalize it out.
Looks like no spot out there from XX. Not going to get the ward down. Imp didn't place it, so if he wants to go for the blue, he won't be spotted.
I don't think Olaf can go full in onto Trundle's jungle unless he really knows when Trundle leaves. It's the type of matchup where if Olaf is caught out of position, Trundle can actually very easily force a flash out of him. But with the help of Tahm Kench, you can see right there, and Ben, of course, they are going to at least equalize the blue buffs.
Blue buffs traded over. And XX just going to sit there happily throwing axes into a bush for giggles.
Oh, he's doing that for a reason. He's really afraid of the Trundle. It's not a happy thing if you run into a Trundle as the Olaf.
It looks so much more fun than it is. He's doing it in fear, and we're like, oh, that's cool. Oh, Knight. He's already so low. He just needs a little bit more damage. Great pillar there from Flawless, but not quite enough. Blocking himself off from the chase.
Yeah, Knight with that skinny Zoe frame is able to dodge out, and Flawless is going to get pincered here.
There's the undertow. Sleepy Trouble Bubble not coming out just yet, but forces the flash from Flawless. There's the flash from both Knight and XX. The flash in again from Knight. The cleanse comes out. No one's going to die today, but a lot of summoners blown in the mid lane.
Are you serious? If that bubble actually landed onto Flawless instead of Yagao, I do believe they would have a kill right there, but that's so insanely aggressive.
Why is Ben up here?
Hey, he just wants to put the seal on the deal. Like, he wants that turret plating. He's just here for the, here with the, decimate, demolish.
He wants to be part of it. He was feeling left out. Now LvMao was like, hey guys, can I party too? He's coming up in. Knight fighting away down the top side, so eventually the mid skirmish ends with just a bunch of summoners blown, no deaths.
I like how aggressive these two teams are. Typically, we've been seeing a bit of a slow laning phase overall in the LPL, but we're going back to our roots. We're having crazy fights from minute 1 on.
No 5-man tower dives just yet, but I'm waiting for it. I still have faith.
The number one strength of TOP, I would say, is that they likely have the best 2v2 jungle mid in the entirety of the LPL. That's how strong I really rate them. You know, Karsa has been doing great things. I feel like in terms of just a macro sense and the plays that he's making, he really does take it for the junglers. But when you pair Knight into the equation versus Xiaohu, I kind of give it to TOP. I think TOP probably do have it on lockdown.
We just saw it on full display in that mid lane fight. Very nearly taking it, but now the gank comes in from Flawless. He's got the move speed, but does he have the hooks? CC lands onto Ben, forcing out a flash.
Could have held on to that, but incoming Olaf.
Oh no, Predator Olaf comes in. Undertow not going to land onto Imp, but they might be able to get LvMao now.
Still
Ignite
got the slow.
is ticking on him. Auto, one more. Undertow takes first blood.
And JD Gaming expending their flashes early on get punished so hard in this situation. Once again, they're taking the first moves, but ending up paying the cost. XS is doing a really good job just shadowing Flawless. The difference between these two junglers is that for XX, he's actually a much more efficient jungler. The way he plays is typically Olaf and Sejuani, so he's looking to farm up and use that gold level advantage to crush the opponent, the enemy jungle. But Flawless is actually one of the least efficient junglers. He's all about ganking and getting solo kills on the enemy jungler. So when things go wrong for Flawless, they typically go sideways very, very far.
So far, though, he hasn't fallen into that trap. 0-0-0. Goose eggs all over the scoreboard now, and just one kill gone down despite all the fighting so far. Now Flawless just going to keep farming all the way up till level 6. And LvMao is actually super far behind on experience because of the roams mid from both of the supports. But at level 6, I think TOP has the better bot lane, at least with the supports behind as they are.
TOP actually have a bot lane that can't really be pushed in by what JD Gaming have to offer. It's one of LokeN's, like, kind of his specialty picks. We don't really see many Varus picks in the meta right now.
Oh, good proto belt there. Response, Chaos Storm there from Yagao, and Knight just get away fine. Trading wave clear, but that is a big ultimate down for Yagao.
Yagao's actually been surprising me in this matchup so far. I thought it would be a situation where Zoe had the poke advantage at least, but every time Knight has been going in, Yagao has been finding those death rays, making sure he trades the damage back.
Doing an admirable job. Of course, part of that is the corrupting potion double Dorans, but both of them, or double Dark Seal rather, both of them are going for that in this bottom lane, or mid lane matchup. Knight trying to zone out. Oh, actually lands the Sleepy Turbo Bubble. Portal jump, not going to come in, but that is a huge chunk onto Yagao.
I like how he saved a ghost for that. It's pretty smart way to trade. He definitely thought out how the damage was going to go down.
Knight just shoving in, still keeping the pressure. Zoe is so oppressive when played well. You have to be so careful with positioning. We're seeing Yagao suffer for it with the CS deficit.
XX one's going around. I feel like Flawless has to leave his own jungle at this point. Doesn't really want to take the 3v1. Don't think anyone does.
This is brutal here from TOP. Already they've taken control over this entire game.
Yeah, and XX really has been my most improved player of 2018. Spring split, you know, the team benched him for not taking things serious enough. He comes back with a vengeance. And you can see in our intro video, the phrase that XX throws out is, "I'm still getting stronger." Those are words to live by.
Showing it today. Flawless getting out jungled thus far at least. And XX working towards that redemption. Love it or hate it, it's going to be really strong for TOP in these early skirmishes.
JD Gaming, their composition is a really strong kite comp. You can go forwards and backwards with the Sivir ultimate. And also, Viktor is just one of the best champions to poke with and set up zone control with. They do have the pillar from Flawless as well to do that. However, I still don't really favor their comp. I feel like TOP have so many tools to get their engages that they want. Of course, the Sion is part of it. The Sleepy Trouble Bubble is one part, and then you have the Abyssal Voyage as well. So I don't think this is a comp that JD Gaming can effectively kite themselves away from. So I wouldn't really give the edge to JD Gaming even in a team fight scenario.
That sounds like you're saying JD is going to have, at best, a really rough time in this game. And it's a little scary, Clement.
When you don't have a logical reason to win, then you're basically looking for outplays. That's how I read this situation.
JDG, flawless at the very least, going to try and make a macro outplay, knowing that the Ocean Drake was taken, therefore XX is on the bottom side of the map. He's going to start that Herald.
Just look at the map control difference here. Now JD Gaming, once again, forced off. They do spot out XX incoming, excuse me.
Stops the Rift Herald take, so no response going to be able to come out from JDG. TOP once again just choking out the life of JDG. This time a little bit slower, granted. But 10 CS lead in the bottom lane, almost a wave of lead from the mid lane, and now Yagao forced to cleanse as well.
This is pretty much a clinic of how XX really dominates the map. He has one of the highest experience leads overall in the LPL. I believe it's around 500 at 10 minutes in, which is absolutely insane. That's over a level lead, and you can see it in this game. He's getting over a 20 CS lead. The way he likes to play is he typically does have rather quiet starts, but he really prioritizes efficiency in farming and actually following the enemy.
There goes the ultimate from 369, not going to be able to land, so Zoom will get out.
Zoom with pretty quick thinking right there, knows that he has to flash out. No reason for Sion to do that unless the Olaf was shadowing him.
Now Knight going to be approached by 3 members of JDG. Looking rather aggressively towards this Rift Herald, I suppose. I'm not sure this is enough, because look at the bottom lane. This is being shoved in, pressured off. Top lane, going to give him a little bit of farm. In the mid lane, you're getting absolutely shoved in.
I do like what LvMao is doing right here. He says, you know, the bot lane's a lost cause. I might as well try to trade something back at the top side. But Ben's saying no.
Abyssal Voyage, both bot laners here for TOP. The Herald's going to reset. This is 5 members of TOP here on the top side. Imp's going to have to get a whole lot done to make it worth it.
Yeah, that's just so much pressure they have in the Varus versus the Sivir matchup. A great counter pick. We should see this a lot more, I feel. And TOP are able to leverage their bot side to get a Herald basically for free. That's how far they are ahead in the matchup.
It's so unfortunate too, because for JDG, it's hard to pick necessarily where they're going wrong, because TOP are doing so much right.
I think they're just losing way too much map control. That's the #1 issue they have right now. Their top lane is very push oriented. Their bot lane, they have a winning matchup, which they can just, you know, TOP can constantly shove in the Sivir.
Now they're taking that bot lane lead, and they're saying to take it mid, getting a lot of plating there. Huge gold lead now, 2K in the lead at just 13 minutes.
And Flawless can't find his way in on the map. I think that's the biggest issue right here. This is very classic example of how XX does play the game out. Farm efficiently early on, shadow your strong side of the lane, and then when you have a big CS advantage, crush the enemy jungler with it. Make sure he can't find anywhere to go on the map, just choke him out, and the lanes will naturally win themselves because the enemy can't trade back. They don't know where you are. You have full vision control.
Now, looking at the state of the game, XX is going to start hitting that gas pedal soon. He's picked up the redemption. You know, his bottom lane has the play to the Ruin King, and Infernal Drake spawning in just a minute. Red buff as well coming up, so if they wanted to go for another fight, force something onto JDG, now is but another opportunity.
Infernal Drake is... I don't think that JD Gaming can necessarily contest this easily. If they want to do so, I feel like it's a situation where they might use Zoom's teleport preemptively, Just try to get a pick somewhere, like this one.
Or that one. There's the hook. Devour from Ben, gonna save him. This is so many members of JDG. 4 down here in the bottom lane, but they don't get the kill. The chain of corruption enough to save LokeN.
Ooh, not enough damage to really put down on the enemy team, and Knight's gonna walk away with the first brick.
First break down, 4-man gank in the bottom lane, failed onto LokeN. And now the rest of TOP walking down to answer. Teleport comes in from 369. Knight comes in. Abyssal Boy is bringing the top laner in. Delivery. Here comes the train. And now JDG taking so much damage under this tower. A full-on 5v5 with the support of the tower. JDG barely able to make it out with their lives even. Sleepy Turbo Bubble goes in from Knight. He's going to look for the Paddle Star. Zoom so low, still alive. And so is the tower. Once they take it down, they can keep aggressing. The flash forward from 369, the slow. Knight does so much damage with the Fear Beyond Death from Zoom. He's able to force off LokeN at the very least. This will turn TOP back for now, and 369 fighting off the damage of 4. TOP need to support their top laner here if they want the fight to keep going. Zoom incredibly low, but will survive off the back of it. A tower taken down, and a 1-for-1 trade.
Whew, that was really on the knife's edge so far. The clutch play for me right there was Flawless's pillar, stopping the Sion in its tracks. If 369 was able to get into the mist of JD Gaming, that was at least 3 people dead before they could reach their own tower. So really heads up play. He wasn't able to stop the damage, but at least he was able to stop Sion from rushing in any further.
JDG really want this Infernal Drake. Heal blown by Zoom.
I'm not sure you want to do this. This is super risky.
They're so low on health. They're even bringing in Imp with the teleport. They are really hungry for this dragon. They need a win. They're going to take their first of the game, picking up the Inferno.
Just look at the minimap right now. TOP are instantly pinging for the mid lane. They know that this is a very long very long back for JD Gaming to make, and they're going to try to make the most of it.
Trouble Bubble not going to connect, but it doesn't matter. Zone's off for the time being, and Knight just going to keep the pressure up. Imp not able to wave clear instantly, but neither is TOP able to take much damage.
Imp with a very good teleport, joins in on the Infernal Drake and also saves the push from TOP as well. A very dicey situation for most of the team right there. But I do feel like you can see some of the issues with the composition that JD Gaming do have. It's that even though they're running this kind of kite composition, it's still so difficult to run away from TOP. There's just too much things, too many tools that TOP can use to chase you down. So JD Gaming, I almost feel once again that they need to focus more on the pick strategy, the pick aspect, just the fact that they can arrive on the scene faster than most of the TOP members can.
So far, though, that really hasn't been working out for them. They've gotten something now, right? They've picked up the Infernal Drake. They're able to not die against TOP. That's sort of the most success they've had this game. So they are holding on a bit. The question is, if they're able to get those picks, if they're able to arrive faster, how long does it take until they break even with TOP's lead? Because they're still ahead, 4K gold. Baron's up in just 2 minutes.
Very difficult to crack out for JD Gaming, and we see TOP with the advantage that they have in towards the actually no I thought 369 had advantage, but Zoom is still ahead in the matchup, but they're able to run the 1-3-1 with just the amount of map mobility they have. On JD Gaming, they're being forced into an unenvious position of being choked out.
If they try and take a fight, it's going to be incredibly dangerous for them because LokeN now has those 2 items. He's hit Blade of the Ruin King, Ruin's Hurricane. Granted, not the biggest power spike in League of Legends, but for TOP right now, it's all they need.
Yeah, that's a teamfight galore composition. If there's a 5v5, you're just going to do so much damage. Able to put his passive onto multiple targets at the same time. Blade of the Ruin King, probably the best first item.
The biggest indicator of success here for TOP is the fact that they are able to put LokeN top by himself and not be worried about it.
That's how much map control they have at this point. So how are JD Gaming going to face this? That's the biggest question. We all know the late game prowess of someone like Imp Sivir they can get to the 3-item mark. However, we're staring at a pre-20-minute game at this point.
Well, Yagao as well, once he hits late, is going to do quite a bit of damage, right? You know, in the team fights, he has the Chaos Storm. He has a lot of ways to disrupt. So if he's able to maybe shut down Knight, does that suddenly disengage the team fight a little bit for TOP? Do they start struggling, or do they have too much going for them?
I feel like in the super late game, JD Gaming will have will have a team fight advantage. If you look at TOP, they're basically running a solo tank comp, and Trundle does chew through those quite easily. You put the King's Tribute down, the Subjugate down onto 369, you steal all of his resistances, and you try to play a team fight where you're pushing front to back. That's probably the best scenario that JD Gaming could get. It's just about getting there in terms of game time.
It's just a matter of waiting for them. They're going to hope that they can stop the push of TOP, but at the moment, LokeN just pushing top, uncontested, sitting at 204 CS. But admirably, you know, if their goal is to get to the late game, Imp's doing all right, keeping even in CS. Yagao down only 30, still hasn't died. The game is far from lost.
Look at that stat on the top side. TOP average LPL best 3,700 gold at 20 minutes.
Oof. Oh, here's the engage coming in from TOP to send the Abyssal Voyage down the chain of corruption onto Zoom. They just need a pick so they can take an objective, and they secure it. Now, bot lane tower under threat. Tier 2 taken down. Dragon spawning in just 8 seconds. It's going to be a mount.
That was TOP getting 4 assists on a single kill. There was only 2 members in the bot side, but everyone was able to converge in to at least get a bit of gold off of Zoom's body. Great coordination. That's actually very difficult to do.
Now they'll convert it into that dragon. Oh my god, Yagao's dead now.
No, he still has a cleanse.
Alright, next time, Yagao's dead. This is really dangerous for JDG as well, because he needs to stall for them. Right now, the question is how they're going to stall into the later stages of the game. If they win the late team fights, and that's kind of what they're hoping on, but outside of the wave clear of Yagao and Imp, it doesn't feel like they have many options.
I really like the build that LokeN is coming out with. The Boots of Swiftness. It's a really smart idea. If he gets a red buff and you get just chased forward, that's such a dagger in the heart of what JD Gaming want to do as a kite composition. And it's also very difficult for JD Gaming to put any damage onto him.
The type of CC they have as well. I mean, outside of LvMao, it's not all that much hard CC. Viktor W starts as a slow.
Pretty much. It's a really good idea on that item purchase. I really do enjoy that.
Predator already popped here for XX. He's looking for something, gets the undertow onto Imp. Imp pops the ultimate, and the spell shield will keep him safe, but now, free push top.
TOP, one of the true super teams in the LPL. All 3 lanes can carry at once. I'd say they're the only team besides Suning that really does have that potential at this point. And they're showcasing basically them going off on all cylinders. Every lane doing what they need to do. Taking control of the entire map. The strong point in the 2v2 mid lane.
TOP starting to bait for the Baron. LvMao is checking it, but there's a chain of corruption right to the face. The flash out keeps him alive for now, but the follow by XX, he's popping his own redemption, and Ragnarok finally falls down, but on the side, Knight takes down Yagao, and the chase comes out. Abyssal Voyage has to be canceled.
Super tense moment right there. JD Gaming, they actually come out okay in that. They do trade 1 extra kill. At least it's not going to turn into a Baron.
Yeah, XX being down stops that from ever being even a pipe dream for TOP, but they are going to lose yet another tier 2 tower. Only 1 remaining in the top lane after this. TOP, that's next on their checklist. But the Baron's also available. They have Varus, who's going on hit, has a lot of attack speed, has the Blade of the Ruin King. Is that their next priority, or do they want to focus more on the towers?
They can just go ahead and do it. Like once they have the lane shoved in, once they know where the members are, it's a pretty easy take for them. I feel like JD Gaming, they're gonna have to lose a lot of members even to just get close to it. This is likely what's gonna happen next time as well. TOP are playing extremely patiently for the most of this. Oh, look at Knight just taking out. Does he die there? Oh my god, that's disgusting.
Especially impressive too, because he knew exactly how Yagao was going to respond to the fight happening and decided to pick him off instead of contribute to the main fight.
Yeah, this is always a problem when your opponents know you too well. Knight probably knew where Yagao was going to come in and join the fight from. Had the perfect angle with the Sleepy Trouble Bubble over the Raptor wall, and he's going to do it potentially again. Nope, nope, nope. Doesn't go in for it. Doesn't have the flash.
However, Knight has hit the point where he's, you know, 2 item, and he's doing so much damage that just 1 Paddle Star took Yagao to that low on health. Suddenly, he can't contest fights anymore.
JD Gaming can kite, but they really can't start fights themselves. That's a big problem with the Trundle pick in general. So they've been having a lot of trouble trying to get a single pick onto TOP and try to slow down the tempo. This is the team fight that they might be looking for.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble followed by Redemption. Zoom takes half his health, forced off, but that does mean TOP stop the Baron for the time being. LokeN walking forward, gets hooked, but the great Devour and LvMao is pulled into the team. 369 zoning off in the front. A lot of damage coming out from Flawless. 369 gets low. Chaos Storm not quite able to take him out. Heal comes down, and this is the chase coming in from LokeN. Zoom barely alive, as is Yagao, but all 5 up from TOP.
That was a play that potentially JD Gaming could have gotten a few more kills back into it, but TOP using the vision advantage in that brush to dissuade JD Gaming from following up anymore. We did see the subjugate onto the Sion. 369, however much armor he has.
Oh! That's a lot of damage onto that Sivir. It's going to be hard for them to contest, and now Knight. Surprisingly low amount of damage onto Zoom there. Knight's taking a ton, but not quite enough for the ultimate to proc. And during all of that, TOP secured the Baron. So now Baron on all 5 members as they push into the mid lane. And the chase coming out from TOP. Don't want Zoom to get away that easily.
Give the man a break. Zoom's teleport was spotted earlier on by Knight. Slows him right out of the teleport.
Knight half health. JDG want to win a fight. They're going to need to take him out. He has so much threat on the side of these fights.
I don't really think JD Gaming can continue with it. They're missing so many ultimates.
Such a good Trouble Bubble right into the middle. Imp is stuck, and now they can chase down, take him out easy for LokeN. A second kill falls down. Flawless as well, forced to blast plan out. Zoom the next target, and he's going to get chased down. Fear Beyond Death pulls in XX, but Zoom shall fall as well. And now TOP, 3 kills in, have only lost 1 so far. They won't be able to get more just yet, but they are pushing in to the inhibitor tower with a Baron and 4 members.
42 seconds is the respawn timer for Zoom. This could very well be the end of the game. A 4v3 scenario, only the jungle down for TOP. They could reasonably take a lot more off of this map if they wanted to.
They're being very careful with it. Now the mid lane is pushing in as well. Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands onto Flawless. That's a ton of damage from the Paddle Star, but they're not rotating towards mid. They're just turning back for the Infernal.
I love how LokeN held on to his Chains of Corruptions until the very best moment. JD Gaming were hesitating if they wanted to join the fight. When they finally decided to back out, they grouped themselves up to go up the ramp, and that's where LokeN picked his moment. He says, like, none of you are going. I love you. You are my former brothers. This is a present. Chains of Corruption. Take that. Just watch this fight. Gets Imp in the middle of it. Everyone's like, okay, we got to block for this. Perfect Chains of Corruption onto 4 targets. Imp dies before even getting 2 auto attacks off. And that's just disgusting. Just so much engaged from this comp.
Now TOP off the back of that. They get a little bit of gold, and now the items coming out. This is absolutely a disgusting amount of damage coming out from the 2 carries. Knight is picked up Rabadon's Death Cat, Luden's Echo, and Morel and Omicron, whereas LokeN has picked up almost 4 items. He's got the eye edge now as well.
I want to see that one-shot potential come to fruition. Should happen when the siege starts. It's so hard for JD Gaming to hold on. They have great wave clear, but not exactly the best range.
LokeN pops a Banshee's Veil of Yagao. This is going to be important going forward. Flawless. Oh, Lord. Going to stay alive for now, but suddenly he's got a back. 1 down, 4 to go.
2 redemptions for TOP as well. They can continuously heal themselves up. Also the Ocean Drake. So if they can just keep on poking members, it could very well be a scenario where JD Gaming have to forfeit their defense until the next.
Oh my God. He's alive for the time being, but there goes the ultimate from 369. Just gonna zone them off. Inhibitor goes down. That's 2 inhibs down. Baron buff, only 3 seconds remaining. And still, a Sleepy Trouble Bubble lands. The cleanse from Yagao will keep him safe, but now on the side, they're engaging onto Zoom. They're keeping him down. The hook lands, but isn't able to find a whole lot from it. What? Imp just explodes! So does the Nexus Tower. Chaos Storm. Yagao is trying to stall as best he can. Knight can't find anyone with that one, but he's still going for it. LokeN pounding away at the towers, and TOP. Both Nexus Towers have been taken, as have both inhibitors. At this point, it's just a matter of how the next team fight goes. JDG, this is their Hail Mary. This is their chance to bring it back. But no, LvMao's taken out. Imp is still down. TOP are running it into the base of JDG. Half health, and LokeN flashes in to get more damage. He's looking for the ace. He's padding the stats. The double kill goes in for 369, and the 2-0 for TOP.
Oh, that was a parental advisory, basically. It's like a super brutal beatdown of former teammates happening right here. Brothers going to fists, and TOP coming out ahead at 2-0 in a crushing victory.
We've seen TOP pull this out before. We saw this similar level of domination against OMG. But OMG, admittedly, our team we had slightly less expectations for, slightly less success so far in the split. Being able to pull this against JDG means that TOP are a threat to be dealt with. They can threaten the top teams in the LPL. We thought this. Now we're definitely sure. That was an absolute stomp both games from TOP.
That was an insane shellacking of an enemy team. You were talking about the OMG series. Just a reminder, that was our only perfect game of the split so far. 0 deaths, 0 dragons or towers taken, full spectrum dominance. And in both of these games, TOP actually showcased new picks. I think that's one of the most scariest things about TOP is that you can't really pin down their strategy. They have too deep of a champion pool in every single position, and they also have no clear side preference. What we're seeing TOP do right now is they can just oscillate between a full lane counter strategy on the red side or a take your comp apart strategy on the blue side. I've never watched a draft where I go, I think the enemy team from TOP has gotten the upper hand. It's just close to impossible. They also last pick for every single one of their positions, which is just mind-boggling. I don't know. I'm at a loss of words. I'm not really sure how you want to defeat this team. It only seems like the way you can take them down is only through better mid-game experience. That's pretty much their only weakness. But after the Chinese Lunar New Year, they've taken their game up a whole new level.
And that's going to be the most interesting thing to watch going forward, because if we're struggling to find a way that TOP falls, the next thing we do, the team that beats them has to be one of the top teams in the LPL, if not the top team in the LPL. Will it be RNG? Will it be IG? Maybe Funplux can disrupt them with their chaotic style. That's going to be what's so interesting going forward.
Invictus Gaming already took TOP down at the earliest part of the split, but that was when they were coming off the World Championship and TOP were just gelling together. I'm not even sure they can do it again. TOP, for me, their stock has risen to the point where I feel like them and FPX are going to be the two teams that I really have to keep my eyes on so far. It seems like they're growing up at a speed and rate that we really haven't expected them. We thought that they were going to be a top 3 team. For me, I was placing them second behind our potentially Invictus Gaming, but this time around, what they're doing to a team like JD Gaming, which me, Raz, and Hysterics both place at 6th place at the end of the split predictions. It looks very, very scary.
Well, and they're going to have their mettle tested in a really big way coming up with our match of the week against RNG. Woo. Can they repeat this dominant performance? Yes, JDG are a very strong team, but RNG is a whole nother level.
Oh yeah, RNG, they probably were the best LPL team throughout the majority of 2018, and we're going to be treated to the best 2v2 mid-jungle duo in the LPL currently. Karsa versus XX, Xiaohu versus Knight. That's the matchup I think everyone really wants to hone in onto. I know Uzi is in this game as well, which is a little extra spice, but I honestly think after watching this series and watching how XX was able to completely suffocate the enemy jungler outside of the match, the real highlight has to be which one can wrestle map control from each other. Is it going to be XX kind of slow style where he starts off without a lot of ganks but efficient farming, or is it going to be something like Karsa, who does like to prioritize a lot of those level 2 ganks, a lot of those level 3 kills into the mid lane, and then dominate with his laners like that? I think that's going to be the big difference maker, the decider for our match of the week.
And I think that Knight is going to be a deciding factor in that as well. Of course, it is all about the mid lane 2v2. That's part of the meta right now in the LPL. But especially for these two teams, in last game we saw TOP absolutely played through Knight. Knight was their, well, knight in shining armor, as it were, and he set up all the plays for his team. He got through so much damage, so many picks, 85.7% kill participation. That's what you like to see.
You know what that finger stands for?
Number 1.
That stands for the one shot, baby. I love it when Zoes do that, when they get far enough ahead where they can just pick people off in the middle of nowhere. That Sleepy Trouble bubble, like you were oohing and eyeing about in the last team fight against in front of the Infernal Drake, that was among 4 people and pretty much won them that team fight. Knight is showing up to be an absolute monster, basically, like we expected them. One of the most anticipated returns to any professional scene.
Yeah, and Knight, I want to see him develop further because it's still, you know, his sophomore year here in the LPL. He's still young. He still has room to grow, and he still has mid laners to be tested against. You know, the Xiaohu Karsa versus him and XX is going to be one of those matchups, and that's what we want to see going forward. We want to see how these teams develop, how the standings develop during that time, and what is going to happen as the LPL continues, because we keep getting surprised day after day, series after series.
Things are really heating up after the Chinese New Year. As we can see in the standings that are going to shortly pop up here, a lot of these teams that are on the top are not really the ones that we expected to see. RNG IG still not there at the summit, but before them, FPX, Suning, and TOP. A reminder, all 3 of these, none of these teams went to Worlds or represented China. That's how scary the LPL region is right now. The top 6 teams should definitely scare you. Even Sino Dragons is in there as well. I'm at a loss for words of that for that pretty much. Sino Dragons definitely surprising a lot of us with the play from Xiaopeng. Of course, JD Gaming, even though they suffered a defeat today, I would still put them very close into that top 6 category.
It's going to be the ones, you know, 6 and down, I think, is where we're going to see a lot of shakeups, because TOP, RNG, Suning, FPX, IG, those are the big dogs coming into this split, and a lot of them have been showing us surprises. After the Chinese New Year, I mean, TOP has looked more dominant than ever. RNG came back with a bang. FunPlus still going strong, still undefeated. So, going forward, what are we looking to see other than RNG versus TOP? After that shakes out, how do you think the rest of the league is going to develop?
You mean after RNG and TOP?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So I personally have a lot of stock for Suning. I think Suning is my 3rd place team. No. Actually, sorry. RNG, TOP, I think FPX has to be up there. In terms of end of split, I still think TOP might take it over FPX just because their raw level of talent is so high up there. I really like their bottom lane. LokeN has been an absolute monster. I would take him over LWX, and that's the reason I put TOP over FPX. But FPX, for me, they have kind of put Suning on the back foot. They kind of leapfrogged into that position of 3rd. And for me, Suning is going to be the 4th place. And 4th place is always such a hard position to be in because you are just outside of going to Worlds. Outside of representation. 4th place basically does not have a voice. Nobody even remembers you after the year is over. And that's a scary thing to talk about as well, because we listed top 4 and IG wasn't even mentioned.
Well, that's what's so scary, you know, and every single matchup every day is a chance for teams to prove themselves, to surprise us, and, you know, we're not done yet this week. This was day one. Yep. We're already surprised, but we've got FPX that you already mentioned, Suning and LGD, who kind of surprised us earlier on last week.
Oh, they took down Invictus Gaming. Like, I wanted LGD to get a win, but I also didn't want Invictus Gaming to lose out like that. Our world champion falling down very, very hard. I am excited for them. LGD, the Red Dragon, is finally on the rise. They're playing so clean compared to what we saw before the Chinese New Year. Probably just what they needed was time for those new players to really gel. Yuki playing a great game. Kramer is the player to watch in that matchup. I feel like if he can win the laning phase against LWX, really take it to that duo between him and Crisp, then we might actually see some surprises come out from that matchup.
They might even be able to take down FunPlus 5-0 currently. Could LGD make it 5-1? We're going to be finding out tomorrow, among other things. It's never too much faith. Don't get me wrong, Clement.
Don't get my hopes up. I can't stand it.
It's never too much faith, viewers. We'll see you tomorrow when I'm proven right. Our next broadcast day is going to be Wednesday, but we're going to have VG versus V5, WE versus OMG.
What does the V actually stand for? Is it going to be Vici with their new core, Puff in the bot lane, or is it going to be V5 with the old veterans? You know, Korn has been having a bit of a shaky season. This was one of those teams that I actually pinned to be in the top 8 because they're so solid from top to bottom, but hasn't been panning out for them so far. I feel like, of course, this is a bit more slighted toward V5's favor, and then we have OMG on the backside. Always love me some Icon and Ala in those solo lanes.
Yeah, I want to give it to V5.
Okay.
I like Jinu. He pulled out Riven in the professional. I mean, Riven on the professional stage. I feel it. I really dig when players pull out their signature picks, so we might get to see that again on our next broadcast day. But until then, stick around, enjoy the LPL on our next broadcast day. We'll see you then.